I'm just trying to be helpful. I might not be, and that is fine. So, hello there, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Saskia and today I'm going to talk to you about how to revise for IB psychology. So, I've done a few videos on IB psychology before and there really aren't that many videos anywhere online, or like there really isn't that many resources online of how to revise. Like there are resources telling you like, you know, here's a revision guide, but like, how do you use it? Nowhere really tells you how to do the actual revision bit, or like how to prepare for revision, as in like what resources should you make. Now, this is just my opinion. These are just, you know, ideas that I have had, resources that I have made that I found helpful. I'm just trying to be helpful. I might not be, and that is fine. Basically, I compiled a little list of kind of like websites, resources and videos on YouTube that you can watch to help yourself revise. Hopefully this won't be too long of a video. It should just be kind of simply explaining how to actually revise. So first of all, I'm going to tell you 3 websites that you can get information from that are actually good. So first up we have ThinkIB. I will never stop praising ThinkIB. Basically, your school should have access to this, hopefully. If they don't have access to it, they're letting you down. I don't know if it's a thing that all IB schools like have to have access to. Probably not, because it's probably expensive. But for psychology, it was so good. We had access to biology as well, and it was not good. But for psychology, it was such a good website, so helpful. Like they have study summaries that you can like print out, and it's like has the study on one page. It has the aim, the method, the results, the findings, the conclusions. And then it will have like evaluations, and it will evaluate them for you, which means that you don't have to think of your own evaluation, because that's probably the hardest point. If someone doesn't evaluate a study for you, it's very difficult to come up with your own ideas. And also, if it evaluates it for you, it's already there. You don't have to like come up with your own points. You can just learn. Like, oh, this study, poor ecological validity. That's your point that you're going to talk about, and then you've got it. It also has, it's basically like an online kind of textbook as well. I've never seen the actual IB textbook. We never used it. I don't know, it might be helpful, it might not be. It just never saw it. But basically on ThinkIB, all of the pages are kind of textbooky style. Like there'll be pictures, like your key definitions, it will talk about something, and then like in a nice little box, it'll be like, here's your study. Like, here's your study. And they have a lot of studies. Basically, it has everything. Like it has all of the optional content, it has paper 3 revision, it has like example questions, it has glossaries, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, but it's got great revision resources. It will teach you how to do an IA. ThinkIB is a beautiful website. I will not stop praising it ever. I love ThinkIB. I still have access to it because, I don't know, I just never got kicked out. I finished the IB in 2020. I never got kicked out, so I still use ThinkIB for my degree because it's that helpful. Like the layout is... I'm going to stop talking about ThinkIB because if not I'll never shut up, but I love ThinkIB. Then we have IB Psych Matters. This is a slightly less detailed page, as in it won't have it has enough content to pass the IB, but sometimes, you know, you want an extra definition or something. But it has everything very beautifully laid out. Like it's all sorted into like cognitive, sociocultural, biological, relationships. And it's sorted into like spec points. So you know how you know cognitive, models of memory. You click on models of memory, you've got your 2 models. You've got 1 study supporting each model, which isn't enough. You need 2 studies supporting each model because you could get a question, you know, about a model of memory and then you have to talk about it. So you need 2 studies for an essay. But it's very beautifully laid out. The studies are all kind of done in bullet points. So it will have the aim, the method, the results, the conclusions, and then it will also have an evaluation. And the evaluation is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It also has like little quizzes at the end. I don't find those helpful, but some people might. It also has a section on how to do the IA, how to do your extended essay. If your school does not have access to ThinkIB, IB Psych Matters is more than a good kind of example replacement. You will just have to do the extra bit of work. So if you have ThinkIB, you don't have to do any extra work. You don't really have to search for your own studies because it tells you enough studies. Whereas with IB Psych Matters, you probably need to find a couple of studies for each section, just in case you get an essay question on that section, because you need two studies and it will only give you one sometimes. So that is IB Psych Matters. It's free, you do not need your school to pay for it, like you have access to it just all the time. When I was using it in the IB, it was still under construction, like they hadn't completed the relationship section, but I think I checked on it around a month ago when I was filming more IB psychology videos, and I think it's completed. I think it doesn't have sports psychology or developmental psychology, health psychology. I think it has the two options that kind of most people do, which is relationships and abnormal. Then we have Quizlet, which I'm sure you're thinking, Saskia, that's not related to IB psychology, but it's a study goldmine. So many people put up all of the studies. Like if you search IB psychology, you'll get so many like flashcard bundles where it tells you the whole study. So like you click on it, it says Bartlett, whatever the year it was, you click on it, it turns over aim, method, results, findings, conclusions, like everything you need on that flashcard. And then you can just print those out and you have all of those flashcards. Like you have all of the studies that you need. This will be helpful for when I talk in a minute about like making your own resources, but this, honestly, if I was ever looking for a study for IB psychology, I'm not going to read the actual paper. Never read a 30-page paper. You don't need to. I would literally just type in, you know, whatever study I wanted, Quizlet, and then I find it. And then you don't like, even just like IB psychology abnormal Quizlet, and you'll find the studies that you want, and then you can just copy and paste them over, and you've got all the studies that you want in one place, and you can like make them into your own Quizlet bundle. I didn't particularly use Quizlet, as in like actually use the flashcards, because they just kind of stressed me out a little bit. But like for searching and finding and collecting information, Quizlet is phenomenal. So next up I'm going to talk about two YouTube channels. So we have Semantic Education. This is a website as well, I think. I don't know how much of it is free access though, that's the thing. I know some of it is paid access. You have to pay for like a revision guide or something, don't do that. But yeah, Semantic Education has good videos, as in it will have videos on, you know, how to answer a social identity question, you know, how to do an IA. So as well as having like general videos on, you know, like paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, abnormal, that kind of thing. Also have specific videos on, you know, like how to answer a social identity essay, models of memory, like a contrast question essay, and things like that. So if you're looking for specific content, I don't know how many videos there are. I think that's the only IB psychology videos I ever actually watched myself when I was revising. And they're good enough, they do the job. Like if you want background noise, you know, maybe while you're writing an essay on social identity theory or while you're like getting ready for bed, shove on a quick YouTube video from Semantic Education and you're good to go. So then we have one that I found yesterday, Lanterno Education. This only has 6 or 7 videos, I think, on IB psychology. It's like a whole IB YouTube channel rather than IB psychology related. So this one, rather than having like, you know, here's how to do paper 1, here's how to do paper 2, that kind of thing, it literally goes through like the biological approach, the cognitive approach, the sociocultural approach. I think I've only seen the biological approach. It might have more. I didn't do too much research on it. I just kind of looked. It looked good enough. I watched a biological video and I was like, yeah, that does the job. So obviously, because like, you know, the whole situation, if your teachers aren't teaching you very well, which is probably likely because, you know, online learning is nowhere near as good as in-person teaching, have a look at the videos. They're good enough. Like, you know, if you don't have access to Think IB, you know, IB Psych Matters, and, you know, these two YouTube channels will kind of, they'll get you enough information. So those are the kind of places to get your information from. And now I'm going to talk to you about how to organise your information and what resources you should make for revision. We're going to start off with a glossary. You need definitions. If you don't have the definitions, you're not going to get your first 3 marks probably for a short answer question. You're not going to get your knowledge marks for an extended response. You're going to lose so many marks that you don't need to lose. So if you have access to Think IB, they have glossaries. If you don't have access to Think IB, just have a look through like your own notes and look at like what words are defined. If you start from the very beginning and you go like, oh, schema, look at your page of notes for schema. What words on there do you need to define? And don't just do it like, oh, if you don't understand it. No. Any word on there that is like psychology knowledge that needs definition, put it on there. like schema, serial reproduction, that kind of thing. And even in your glossary, like put, you know, model of memory, like a very brief explanation of the model of memory. Make yourself a glossary for cognitive, sociocultural, biological, your options, and even for paper 3 if you're a high level student. As in, like, what is each study type? So like, what is an experiment? And then I think in paper 3 you have to name 2 characteristics. Just put 2 characteristics. Just put a true experiment is, and then full stop, you know, can establish cause and effect, high control, full stop. You've got your answers. If you have access to Think IB, they don't take long to make. You just copy and paste theirs over, maybe add a couple of things. If you don't have access to Think IB, honestly, just take a Saturday, Sunday morning, just take a few hours and make yourself a glossary. And then, you know, keep it on a document on your laptop. Anytime you learn a new word, put it in there. Like, you want to know how to define all of your psychology terminology in a way that the IB likes. Because the IB, they're very picky with what they like in your definitions. So, you know, try and find their definitions of things, or your teacher's definitions, because they will be like accepted by the IB. So you can just like read through those whenever you're bored, which is probably going to be a lot because there's nothing to do in lockdown. You know, like before your lesson, read through it. If you can do a revision lesson, read through it. While you're waiting in the queue for lunch, have a scroll through it. If you're on the bus, have a read through it. You can stick them up on your walls and stuff. I never personally found it too helpful to stick stuff up on my walls, and I know I've got stuff stuck up there, but it's not definitions, it's like a timetable. But like, I never found it helpful to have things stuck on my wall because I just didn't look at them. But yeah, make a glossary, keep adding to it, learn your definitions because you need to know them. If you search up IB exam question bank psychology, you will find every single question they can ask you in the IB. Every single one. Copy and paste those all into a document, make it into a table. On one side, the question. On the other side, the study you're going to use.
So obviously it doesn't have to look exactly like this, but this is just what my one looked like. Also, I did include like M19, which means that it was used in the May 19 exam, and because I was the May 20 exam, I was like, well, it might not get used. Not like that doesn't confirm it won't get used, but just kind of, it was just for my, you know, why not?
You can minimise the amount of studies you learn so much. Like, put down all of the studies that you know for that section. So, you know, say you've got an essay question, put down all of the studies that you have learned, as in all of the studies that your teacher has told you about that you can use to answer that question. And then when you're looking through all of your study list, have a look for repeats. So Maguire for biological, if you don't learn Maguire, you're wasting so much brain space. Learn Maguire and you can answer like 4 questions with just him. Incredible. Look for the ones that repeat and overlap. So then you're going to know those are the studies you probably need to know the best, because they're the most likely to come up. And then you can pick, you know, for this essay, I'm going to use this study because I know that I'm also having to learn it for a short answer question. Like the studies you don't have to learn for a short answer question, see if you can cut them out. See if you can remove them because you don't have to know them. Yeah, try and make yourself a kind of list answering all the questions, just so you know exactly what study you're going to use, because it's not worth going into an exam and being like, yeah, I know all the content, and then a question comes up but you don't know who to use for it. Like, you know that you know a study, but you don't know who did the study and you don't know what it's about. Like, if I went into an exam and I read a question, I knew exactly who I was using for that. Like, because I literally memorized my list. Like, I can still picture on my list exactly what was in the left column, what was in the right column. And the amount of studies I cut out, I went from like 150 studies to about 60. You can cut out so many studies just doing this, because your teachers will say like learn everything. No. Find the studies that you can use for 3 or 4 questions, fully memorize them, and then see if you can start crossing out other ones. See if you can start like removing them, or being like, oh, this is only going to come up in 1 question, so like it's not the highest of priority to absolutely nail. So once you have that and you have a list of every single study you need to learn, and I mean every single study for, you know, biological, cognitive, sociocultural, and also your options. If you're standard level, you have 1 option. If you're high level, you have 2. You need to know all of the studies you're going to use. So obviously this is something that you make, you know, you're going to keep working on it throughout the year. Same with your glossary. And you can finish it as soon as you know what optional module you're doing, pretty much. Because you can just look on the website. Like if your teacher's using Think IB, there's only certain studies they can use to teach you about like abnormal, so you already know what studies you're using. Once you have that, you need a summary of every single study you have chosen. You can have that in any method that you want. You can have it on Quizlet, you can make posters, you can just handwrite some notes of all of the studies. Will take a while, but you know, pen is mightier than the keyboard. That study, like, you learn things better when you handwrite them. So I did flashcards. I originally handwrote them and then I didn't like it, so I typed them all up, and I had a master document of every single psychology study that I had to know. And there is a lot. This is the minimum amount you can learn. Absolute minimum, because I did not, basically, I'll talk about this more when I do a video about paper 1, but I did not learn sociocultural or biological for the essays. This is like, as in, this is literally the bare minimum of studies you can use. And this is a lot. So, I mean, this is for higher level. So if you're standard level, you can probably cut out like, I don't know, maybe that many, but you have a lot of studies anyway. I printed mine out in flashcards, and then what I did is colour coding. When I hand wrote my notes in lessons, I colour coded. Biological is green, sociocultural is pink, cognitive is blue, abnormal was... What colour was abnormal? Abnormal was like teal, and then I did relationships in purple. So this study, blue, cognitive. This study, pink, sociocultural. I instantly know colour. Like, I don't know how, I don't know the psychology between colour coding. Like, I don't know how much it actually helps or does anything, but I did it for all of my notes, as in, like, I had a massive revision folder, which if you've watched my, like, general IB psychology, how to get a 7 video, you would have seen I had a revision folder. That was all colour coded. So anything cognitive was blue, anything sociocultural was pink, and it was the same 2 colours of blue and the same 2 colours of pink and the same like sets of colours. And then what I did with those, carried them around in this little wallet. It's broken. It's not doing well because I took it everywhere. If I was going in the car somewhere, took that with me, had a read. You know, sometimes I would only take cognitive questions, or I would only take the sociocultural ones. Like, you know, you don't have to take all of them everywhere. So yes, flashcards are great, just because they're a lot easier to kind of carry around places. Obviously, if you do it on like a Quizlet, you can have your phone everywhere. Like, if you're just waiting in a queue somewhere, pop on Quizlet, click on your cognitive set and have a little look through. Like, they're great. So like, basically on each flashcard, I would have the name, the aim, the method, the findings and the conclusions. I would not do evaluations on here because I just knew the evaluations, but it is probably worth putting an evaluation on here. Then what you can also do, I did not do this, but on the back you can put what question you're going to use to answer this. So this will be similar to your study list, but it will be better because you will have your full study with evaluative points and the question that you're going to use it for. I don't think I have anything else to say. Editing Saskia here. I forgot to mention, here's another key point: practice essays. Honestly, every weekend or whenever you have time, write practice essay, write practice short answer questions, mainly practice essays because they are harder, and just ask your teacher to mark them because it's their job. They kind of should be helping you learn. Honestly, like, type an essay, write an essay, just practice essays because they are really hard. I have mentioned this in another video, but like, just a great way of revising is writing essays. They are very helpful. I made all of these notes and I sell them on Tez and Stuvia, I think. I should probably link that one down below. I only link my Tez. But basically, I made all of these notes. They're very good. I don't know if I mentioned, but I got 7. I know I was class of 2020 or whatever. Tell me I got given my grade for free. I did not get given my grade for free. I cried about this so much. I was predicted 7s all year. Like, there was no way I was not going to get a 7. Like, it wasn't like I was predicted like a 5 and then the IB was like, yeah, go on then, give her a 7. Like, I used all of this to get me to a 7 and to keep me at a 7. And then I did get my 7. Well, after several tears, after I got given a 6, and not even a good 6, I spoke about this in my other video, I got given a 6. I'd never got a 6 in the IB psychology before, never. And then the IB was like, nah, let's give her a 6. And then we all appealed the IB and I got my 7, so appeal your grade if it's not right, because it was not right. I don't have anything else to say. But yeah, so try and like schedule in when you're going to do revision for each subject, like literally just say like, oh, Saturday, the whole morning, IB psychology, we're gonna get it done, we're gonna do it. But yeah, that is all I have to say. If you have any questions about IB psychology revision or anything specific like that, leave them down below and let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I am doing a lot more IB psychology videos. I have like 4 more to film, and I've already filmed like 4. So if you do want to see more IB psychology videos, do stick around.